welcome. Happy New Year. Uh, Welcome to Heart-to-Heart program, a program which aims to help you understand and to become your loving self at KMET 1490 AM ABC Radio. This is Dr. Mitra Rashidian. I'm a licensed marriage and family therapist and a certified sexologist. And I'm here along with my business partner, colleague, and best friend of, and here it goes, going 17 years, Dr. Robert Jaffe.
Merci beaucoup, madame.
You,
I'm Dr. Robert Jaffe, and happy to be here with you. And we're here to celebrate the year that COVID is ending.
yes,
And we know that because so many wonderful drug companies have been working diligently to find an antidote and a vaccine, and we now have several of them, and now it's a matter of getting them out to the people, and we're already starting that. And so this is going to be a much better year because
yes,
we're going to have less sick people, and we're going to be able to get out and enjoy each other's company once again.
I have missed that so much.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
really, just one of my joy in life has been to look at people and just be grateful to have them around me.
Mm-hmm.
And then not having that, not being able to do that, I really miss it.
Yes. Yeah. We've had to hibernate, so to speak.
Yeah.
But now we're still having to, but it's starting to look, the sun is shining.
Yes.
And the gap of sick people is going to start diminishing. At the moment, it isn't, but this year we're confident that it will be.
Yes.
Yes.
So just hang in there,
Just hang in there a little while longer.
Yeah.
Be patient. Be generous with your love, and that's it. So I'm here with my colleague and my dear friend and my business partner, and we're here to help you understand and to become your loving self. And we believe here that we are born into this world as our loving, authentic, true selves. We come in with many great qualities. We come in open to love, open to new learning, open to connecting with others. We come in calm. We come in curious. We come in emotionally available, meaning that we can connect with other people on a deep feeling level. We also come in honest, and we come in pretty confident too. We're all sexual beings. We come in as sexual beings. We come in trusting that the world will welcome us. And we also have the ability to be confident and calm. And we can do that because we are creatures of the light and of love. And if we start getting the opposite of that, we learn how to adapt. And at any point during our lives, we can recognize that our adapted self was just a part of us that we needed at one time, and learn how to reconnect with our authentic, true, loving selves. And that's what we're here to talk about.
Exactly. And I'm so grateful for the introduction that you provided. I know that today is January 7th, and we were not here at the very beginning of the year to talk about, what's important for us, to us, and what are we looking forward in 2021 to achieve. So I guess that's called New Year resolutions, right?
It is.
Do you have one?
Well, actually, I don't make a New Year's resolution, but what I do is I have an internal belief that I'm going to keep growing and learning, and I want to do that in the service of becoming more loving and more authentic, and I want to help as many people as I can to do the same. And that is something that I've been on the path of for many, many years, and that's something every year. I don't actually sit down and make a New Year's resolution. I just reaffirm to myself that I want to make a bigger impact on the world in terms of helping people recognize that we are all in this together. And it was interesting to me when I was a little boy. I loved science fiction movies. I still do, but not like I did when I was a kid. But what I saw in science fiction movies, when people when they made a science fiction movie, they would have aliens. The aliens in the old science fiction movies had like 6 heads and 5 arms, which were like tentacles, and 6 or 7 legs. They'd have like 20 toes on each foot. They would really be aliens. And I thought, oh, those people, those aliens, they're not like us. And they weren't like us. They didn't think like us. They didn't act like us. They certainly didn't look like us. But then I saw, okay, well, if I look at a human being and I look at one of those creatures, I can see, wow, look at us. We all have the same thing. We all have the 2 eyes. We all have the nose, the mouth, the arms, the fingers, the legs. We're all the same. And from that experience of watching those science fiction movies, I developed the belief that we are all much more alike than we are different.
Exactly.
And I've taken that belief and I've expanded it now into my work and into my life. And I believe that that is still true. We're all much more alike than we are different. Not just in the fact that we have bodies and the bodies all look pretty much the same. Yeah, there's certainly differences in size and shape and color, but we're all pretty much built the same, male and female. We're all pretty much the same, but more that we're more alike in terms of how we think about things and how we feel about things. And the information, there's an old expression in computer language, garbage in, garbage out. And if we're given love and care and connection with other people when we're little, that's who we become. We become loving, caring, connected people. And if we don't get that, then we learn how to survive without it. But it changes us into something that isn't necessarily what we want to be. And so to me, it has to do with who we were raised by and our upbringing and our environment. But at any point in time, because of the fact that we have the ability to learn and grow emotionally, grow spiritually, grow intellectually, we can learn how to be better lovers of ourselves and of others.
Exactly.
And that's what I've devoted myself to being, and I know that you've done the same. So
Thank you for saying that.
yes, and so that's why we're here today. We're here to help people become better lovers of ourselves and lovers of others.
Of others.
Mhm.
Yes. And with that, and that was so beautiful.
Oh, thank you.
So poetic, so insightful, which, is related to what I want to say about my New Year resolution. And actually this year I did think about what is my New Year resolution.
Mm-hmm.
And I think, it happened because I, with everything that happened last year, and it happened so suddenly for all of us, I got the sense that, I need to develop in me more sense of gratitude.
Mm-hmm.
And I've always been grateful and thankful to God for everything that I have been experiencing, and friends, and everything. But I saw a different depth about what really gratitude means
Mm-hmm.
during last year. And that's like you explained that, we're all alike and we are different.
Yes.
and how much, appreciating and valuing that and have sense of gratitude for our togetherness with everything that's different about us is life essential.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, we are all different, and I'm talking and I have an accent, right? I may think a little bit differently because, I am from a different culture,
Mm-hmm.
right? Uh, and it doesn't matter, really. None of that matters because at the end of the day, I'm a person, you're a person, everybody is a person.
Mm-hmm.
And that it is that person part of us that's, we need to look at and appreciate and value and have, sense of gratitude to be living in a time that, with all the differences, at the end of the day, we want the same thing.
Yes. Yes.
All we want is, our family, have a family, be healthy, have food on the table, to say the least of the things that we want. I mean, there are some of us that they want more things, like they go for materialistic things, and that's okay. I'm not suggesting that is wrong.
Mm-hmm.
But we have so much around us that we forget to see, we forget to recognize, we forget to appreciate so many little things, that those are what life is all about.
Mm-hmm.
We call them little things, but then again, those are the most meaningful things of life.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
So for me, going through the experience of last year, I want to be, a more insightful person. I want to be more, you know, uh, grateful for everything that's around me, everything that, I touch. I wanted to be able to help. I want to be able to expand so that, I can give more of what I know I can give
Mm-hmm.
to my society,
And
it
yeah.
doesn't matter I have an accent or I don't.
Yeah. 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 The other thing that I learned as a child by watching science fiction movies is when the aliens came down, they were really aliens.
They call me alien.
Well, no, I'm saying we use the word.
I am an alien.
We use the word alien, which I think I'm not sure exactly what the definition of, but I think alien means not the same as or different from.
Yeah.
And
so they call us alien.
Well, yeah,
Yeah.
and
But I don't have 6 heads.
and what I learned was that because we're all born on this planet, and we're all wired in the same way in terms of needing to eat, needing to go to the bathroom, needing to be loved, needing to feel connected. Um, these are all human characteristics, and none of that is alien. That's all us.
That's all us.
And
Yeah.
so, in the most important ways, we are all much more alike. And we know that because if you watch any science fiction movie and you see an alien, you see that, number one, they don't look like us and they don't think like us.
Right.
They're totally different. But we are all one family. But what we do is because of fear, we learn how to separate out and say that, no, I'm not the same as you. I'm better than you, or I'm worse than you. And that's where we get into trouble.
Exactly.
So when we see each other as all part of the human family, things work out a lot better.
Right. And with that, we got a signal that our commercial break is around the corner. So we look forward to seeing you back here so we can talk about the subject of today, human sexuality.
Human sexuality.
See you shortly after our commercial break. PM, please join us. Thank you. Welcome back to our commercial. This is Heart-2-Heart program at KMET 1490 ABC News Radio. Dr. Mitra and Dr. Robert here. And if you're, thank you for following our programs during the last year and continuing to join us, and we would appreciate it if you share this program with those that you believe they can benefit from. We would like also to invite you to join us live online. Our phone number here is 951-922-3532. We also welcome your private messages via email, and our email information is listed on the KMET program pages. And also you can visit us at YouTube, heart-2-heart.online/YouTube. So going back to the exciting topic of human sexuality, right? And we have 12 steps programs for everything.
We do. We do.
Right?
The 12 steps.
The 12 steps.
Yes.
We have it for addictions of different kind, right? And then how people through those steps, they are able to enhance the quality of their lives, right? And they are very brilliantly, designed. And I haven't heard not even person to say that they're not benefiting from their 12 steps.
Yes.
Right.
Yes.
So I came across 12 steps for, to have better sex. Right.
Okay.
And I said, wow, why don't I share that?
That's great.
Right.
That's great. Yes.
So, I mean, this is the beginning of the year, right? As part of New Year resolution in terms of enhancing the quality of sex life and therefore, relationships. It's not a bad idea to see what are these 12 steps, and then we go through them as much as we can cover this week, fine. And then, we can continue with the rest of it, the next time. Because I think, it's good to talk about each steps and kind of offer insight versus just going over the titles.
Absolutely.
Right.
Absolutely.
So are you with me on that?
I'm totally with you.
Very good.
Yeah. As you know, I worked for a 12-step organization for many years, and I am a firm believer that the 12 steps can be very, very helpful.
Yes. So why do we want to have, 12 steps for better sex to begin with, right? Because sex, not only it is fun and it adds to the quality of life and the quality of relationships, it's also a matter of health, right? So we see that, what sex does, in our body, the way that it makes it fun, because hormones are released in our body that, and gives us the sense of euphoria, gives us the sense of comfort, gives us the sense of relaxation, right? To say the least, right? And even for those who have, self-sex, masturbation, still is the same thing, right? For some people, even the intensity of masturbation is higher than having sex with a partner.
Correct.
Right? Or vice versa.
Or vice versa.
Either way, it leaves behind a good feeling and a good sense of relaxation for most people, right? And definitely, it improves mood.
Well, I'm gonna put a caveat to that. It does do those things. However, if there's negative feelings such as guilt or shame attached with any phase of the sexuality, the excitation phase or the plateau, any phase of the sexual experience, it can actually leave a person feeling pretty bad.
Well, yes, that's another side of it.
But it's not designed to do that.
It's not designed to do that, absolutely. There are people that they go through the process of feeling, sinful, guilt and shame. Why? Because, sexuality, the topic of sexuality is to primarily, and no matter how advanced we are today in it, still, in majority of, the places globally, I would say, plus minus in different places, it's a taboo topic.
Right.
There are so many influential factors that kind of maintains that, and it has maintained it throughout this history, and it still continues to do so. And those are, social factor, culture, norms, religion, politics, sexuality being a biopsychosocial phenomenon, right? So there are many factors that they do that. However, we know that, sex happens.
All the time.
Whether it's a sinful act or whether it's a joyful act, or a combination of both, it does happen, right? So
we're born as sexual beings.
Exactly.
Yes.
Right, and it's a core part of our lives, and it can be denied. And to justify that, we are right about sex happens all the time. Look how many babies are happening all the time.
Right.
So we know that those are all, to say the least, those are our evidence, right? And also, so going back to the topic, it's also having sex, regular sex. It improves, heart health. It reduces stress and depression. It improves self-esteem, and for some people, helps them sleep better. And and then the fact that two people are able to kind of connect together that way, snuggle, kind of be playful with each other, right? Kind of talk quietly under the blanket, kind of feel the warmth of each other, kind of tickle each other, right? Smelling each other, touching each other, just stay quiet and touching each other. So there is so many way of looking at how this having sex can help a person to relax.
Yes.
And to feel connected, and to feel loved, to feel safe, to feel beautiful, to feel belong to feel good about themselves, right? So there are so many ways that sexuality and having sex is beneficial, and that's why we call it a core part of human being life. And it is an aspect of our life that we cannot deny it. It is as though a person says, oh, I'm not going to eat because eating is sinful. How could that happen, right?
Right.
So that's why, we want to know how we can, enhance the quality of our sex life in order to get more of what I just described, more of what you said.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
Okay. So here comes the first step.
First step.
Communication.
Communication. Okay. Okay. Communication.
Communication with your partner, right? So couples, who talk to each other about what they want, what they desire, have better sex and a healthier relationship. And this is, a concept that you and I have significantly focused on in our ebook, which is about to end, about to be completed soon.
Right.
Right. We have devoted, many areas of the book to communication and how communication is essential. And we know that when you be able to tell your partner what you want, what you don't want, what gives you pleasure, what kind of annoys you, right? What are your likes and dislikes? It actually, depending on the openness to each other, right? It helps you to even get closer, make the relationship stronger, and trust each other, and be yourself. The ability to be yourself, through communication is such a high, quality, such a high, I would say it's essential to have, right? In order to stay connected and in order to be able to be yourself during, each sexual episode, I would say.
Yeah. I would say that communication, the word that I that I like using is when you get the other person.
Yes.
Right. And getting, to me, is like a high level of communication where you can really not just understand the words that the person is saying, or not just understand even the intonation, in their voice, or not just even understand the body language, but also understand. I'm going to use the word the soul part of it, the deepest part of them when they're communicating, and especially when they're communicating during sex, when the person is totally vulnerable and totally open. Um, it promotes a certain it's like creating something. And it's not the act of procreation. It's actually the act of creation, where the two of you come together and you create an energy that is like its own thing.
Exactly. And that energy to me is about, our own growth. I believe that if two people are able to connect sexually at the level that you just said, uh, each, at least I would say, each or within an interval of, having sexual sex together with those partners, it's actually a learning process. It's actually about, self-growth, because for as long as we are able to be truly our authentic true self, our authentic sexual self, and be able to be that, so that two people can get each other, right? It's a opportunity to learn more about ourselves, right? And that's the ultimate satisfaction, when two people feel that they can be themselves, share their thoughts, share their feelings, even question why they have certain thoughts, right? And ask each other to help each other to understand why those thoughts are happening, why those bodily sensations are happening or not happening, why the bodily changes are happening or not happening, right? Why they are able to verbalize certain words or they are not able to do that, right? Why they are able to connect that way or not connect that way, right? Those are all learning about ourselves.
Right. Yes.
Right.
Yeah. Yeah. Because a human being is not. It's actually. I think of a human being as an amalgamation of of not just our thoughts and not just our emotions, certainly not just our bodies, and not even just our soul or our spirit. It's an amalgamation of all of that that comes together and can be expressed through our lovemaking, where we really see the God self in each other.
Yes.
And when lovemaking is escalated to a place of where that God self of you is communicating with the God self of the other person, it becomes an exquisite experience. And it's not about getting sexually excited, although that happens.
Yes.
But it's really about a communion,
yes.
a communion of beings.
Right.
Yeah.
And being with a person that, like you said, that gets you.
Yes.
Right. Which is, it's not difficult. I mean, people think, oh my God, who wants to go all do that for 5 minutes of sex, right? Well, even that 5 minutes of sex, deserves, its own approach, deserves its own value, and deserves, two people get together in that level. And that's the ultimate divine way of, learning about each other and talking to each other about what we want. So how do we open this dialogue? I mean, what does, you may ask, what exactly? So if you're talking this way, what do we mean by communication? How do we communicate all of this together, right? You and I have talked in our book about communication starts with me, my intropsychic, and then my interpersonal skills, right? What happens between me and my partner and how I'm able to talk about it, right? So to begin with, in order to communicate effectively, we need to understand ourselves.
Right.
We need to understand our own, comfort zone.
Understand and accept.
Accept, identify, understand, and accept.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because when we're not in acceptance of all the parts of us,
Right.
the parts of us that we're not in acceptance of are the parts of us that keep us from the deep connection
Yes.
that we can have with another human being.
Exactly. Because, when we are together, two people are together, in a divine moment of making love, they can be preoccupied with things that they are not happy about.
Mm-hmm.
An aspect of themselves, the shape of themselves, or the, arguments that they had the other day that went unresolved, right?
Right.
So those are sort of roadblocks to what can make, a lovemaking episode a divine one, a happy one, a joyful one,
Mm-hmm.
right? Even if it is 5 minutes,
Yes.
right?
Yeah.
And, so if I'm not able to find, beauty within myself,
Mm-hmm.
right, I won't be able to show those beauties to my partner, and I don't see my partner's beauty because I'm going to be looking at him or her through the lens of that limitation.
Correct.
Right.
Yep.
So that's really, essential. And then the authenticity, my own authenticity and my honesty about who I am and what I am and what I want and how do I learn about myself,
Mm-hmm.
is another key factor.
Mm-hmm.
So let's talk more about this, after our commercial break. We just got the notice, and please call us, right? This is an interesting topic. Isn't that part of your New Year resolution, having
Yes.
better sex?
Yep.
So 951-922-3532.
See you soon. Recovery seminar every Friday from 9 to 10 a.m. See you there.
Welcome back from our commercial break. Dr. Mishra and Dr. Robert here at Heart-2-Heart program at KMET 1490 AM ABC News Radio. Our phone number here live is 951-922-3532, and we're talking about the 12 steps of how to have better sex, which we are on the step number 1, and it's such a vast step that it's highly important and highly imperative for us to know how to communicate, right? So before commercial break, I was just talking about the selfhood part of, how one can look at herself or himself when it comes to communicating about what works for them, what doesn't work for them, during sex, and how that understanding of selfhood is an essential part of, having better sex, right? More meaningful sex, right? So one of it, aside from authenticity and honesty, is the sense of curiosity, is and also being open to learning, right? So curiosity about, ourselves to begin with, to understand ourselves and to be open to learn about ourselves that way. So versus thinking about shame and the fear and the guilt and the sinfulness and the do's and don'ts that society, imposes on us, and they make sure that we maintain them, right? We can have a breakthrough by saying, okay, is this really working for me? Is this law, is this perspective, is this approach, is this, what they offer me as my guideline, is this really my guideline? Right? Is this something that really I want for myself? Right? And if that's not the case, if that's not giving me the joy, the connection, the meaningfulness, the beauty within me, if that's not helping me to see all of that, then what do I want and how do I get my information? How do I find out, right? So to get to that point of curiosity about selfhood is an essential part of learning about our own sexuality, which to get there, we need high level of self-esteem, right? So enhancing self-esteem is an essential part of that, right? Understanding our self-worth is, definitely a part of that. And so once we understand where our self-esteem is, where our self-worth is, and how that plays a role, in my sexuality is definitely a key factor to be able to say what one person wants in their sexuality, right? And to be open to read new materials, to be open to access for get our hands on information. If we don't know something about ourselves, if we are in a gray area, if something is not meaningful, or we have questions, or there is something about ourselves that we don't understand, it's better to ask for help.
Yeah. So what my viewpoint is at this point in my life, I'm 71 now.
And I'm I'm 62 still, okay.
I'm 71 now. And
And a half.
and a half. No, not a half yet. A couple more months and I'm a half.
Okay.
So, but yeah, my view at this point is that that I look at it as though there are two parts to every human being. The first part is what we call our ego. Some people have used the word ego as a euphemism. This is done in the 12-step groups like Alcoholics Anonymous or Narcotics Anonymous. They say EGO, edging God out. But I think of ego as that part of us that is not aware that we are more than just our bodies.
Yes. Yes.
So when we're in our ego, what we are concerned about is the most important thing is physical survival, and we are born, all of us are born with a very, very powerful instinct for physical survival. That part of us we just come here with that. It's part of being on this planet. We all have an ego. We all have a need for physical survival, and we all consider that if it's not top priority, it's certainly amongst the top two, right? So maybe our life and maybe our children's life, is like equal to us. But ego is a very powerful part of us, and what the ego relies on is being able to separate that which is life affirming from that which is life denying. So that which is life affirming means that we have to figure out what is right to eat and what is poisonous to eat. That's at the very beginning of life is what, and so what we learn basically in our ego is what is going to affirm our life and what is going to threaten our life. And when we live in an ego state alone, it's all about me.
Right.
It's all about what's going to be good for me. And I don't really care about anybody else because my survival is most important to me. And if anything comes up that I feel like is threatening my survival, well, too bad. I'm going to discount that, and I'm going to go back to what's in it for me. So I see that as a level of development that human beings are at, where we're all living in the same radio station at the beginning of our life, WIIFM, listening to that. What's in it for me?
Yes.
Me. Now, if we develop and we move through that, we go to what I think the second level is, which is our spirit. And our spirit, which is not part of our body, our spirit is the energy within us. That part of us is not concerned about survival. That part of us is only concerned about love and connection.
Right.
And so if we at some point in our development are threatened consistently with survival, we develop a very strong ego, and some of us never grow out of it. So it doesn't matter how old we are, if we have a belief that we're going to be not okay physically in the world, we use our ego to bolster us, to say, oh, I can handle that. I'm better than that. I can do this. And we neglect the development of our spirit.
Mhm.
And so when you talk about communication, we're either communicating from a place of I'm most important, or we're communicating from a place of I am important, but I also see that you're important. And when I'm able to get to that place, then I'm operating more from a spiritual awareness than simply a uh,
Physical.
a physical awareness,
Right.
right? And to me, that's the place that we need to look at in terms of maturity.
Right.
That we can begin to see, wait a second, the world is not all about me.
Mm-hmm.
And that's a tough place for people to get to.
Right.
Yeah.
And that's why we're here.
And that's what we're here. We're here
Yeah.
we're here to try to help you to understand that it's simply a developmental issue. It's not something that's wrong with you.
Right.
You know, our physical survival is important, but if we stay in physical survival, then it becomes simply about me and you, or me or you. Excuse me.
Me or you.
Me
Yes.
or you, rather than the two of us together.
Exactly. And one of the ways that we stay in a place of it's all about me is the matter of self-judgment.
Right.
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 We do self-judge without even, noticing that we're doing.
Mm-hmm.
Right. We do feel, I'm not good enough. And, that becomes like a default place in our lives, that
Mm-hmm.
every time we want to be ourselves, we somehow go back to that default place of I'm not good enough.
Right.
Right. And that's because of we do self-judge. And how do we learn to do self-judge? Because society is giving us, a pattern of how to be. Society gives us a method of how to be, or a way of how to be.
Mm-hmm.
Right. And if we don't match that, right, the way to be, the how to be, and what you need to be, we start to, beat ourselves up. We start to self-judge. We all go to that default place that we learn about ourselves for a variety of reasons, small t and large t traumas that makes us, summarize that, sum up that I'm not good enough for whatever reason. Right. That each person has for themselves, right? So that the sense of I'm not, good enough to match up with what the society is telling me, right, doesn't allow me to go to the sense of curiosity, doesn't allow me to go to the sense of appreciation of who I am and what I am.
Right.
And to focus on that. And that's the ego part that you're talking about. So the ego takes me back to where I need to go and how to be and what to be in order to survive, in order to match up, in order to fit in.
Fit in.
Right.
Yeah. And then you threw in the terms, small t and large t.
Yeah.
And I just want to clarify, a small t, a small t trauma,
right,
means that that someone has said something that makes us, that where we take it as I'm not good enough. That's a small t trauma. And
those are pervasive situations that happen across different lifespan in a person.
Right.
That the person, learns through those episodes how to feel about themselves.
And it's especially damaging in childhood.
Yes.
When we get small t traumas and we're told that, and when we're treated as if, we're told that we're not okay and we're not good enough. Mm-hmm. And the good enough feeling, the lack of the good enough feeling creates a small t trauma, which means that part of us is going through life then feeling deficient, as though we're not good enough.
Right.
And we become hypersensitive to any criticism because that reminds us of our belief, which we think is a fact, that we're not good enough.
Right.
Whereas a large T trauma is something that is actually life-threatening. So a large T trauma would be, of course, somebody holding a gun on you.
Right.
Right. Or in the case of a child and an adult, or a child and a parent, the parent saying to the child, I'm going to give you, if you cry, I'm going to give you something to cry about.
Right.
Meaning that I'm going to hurt you and you can't protect yourself, and that becomes a large T trauma.
Yeah, some of the examples of large T trauma are rape, childhood rape, or sexual molestations, for example.
Right. Or simply one person threatening another person, a person larger and stronger, threatening somebody who's smaller and weaker, in the case of a parent or child, or even an older sibling and a younger sibling.
Or even witnessing parental fights and arguments.
Right. Yeah.
For a 3-year-old, that's a matter of life and death.
Right, because the 3-year-old feels conflicted and feels like they need both people to survive. Yes.
And for a teenager, a relationship is about fighting.
Yeah.
So where everybody, has a different understanding and perspective and awareness and learning about what trauma means to them. So, well, we just got a notice about commercial break, and I can't even, believe that the program went so fast, and I'm still on step 1.
Well, we're still on step 1. Step 1 means communication and understanding. And how can we expect another person to understand us if we don't understand us?
If we don't understand us,
we need to understand ourselves, so that we can communicate our understanding of ourselves to another person.
Exactly. When we go to a doctor, what do we say? I don't feel good because of this. So that's how the doctor can understand and help us.
Right.
So anyway, we're going to continue with this, topic the next time we meet. And I'd like to invite you to please join us tomorrow for another episode, the first program of Dr. Robert Jaffe about relationship codependency, trauma, and addictions at 9 o'clock. And then next week, I will invite you to please join us again for another episode of Human Sexuality on Thursday at 3 p.m. and then Friday at 9 a.m. Until then, don't forget that all you need is love.
Love, love, love.
Have a wonderful evening.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.